Pr.Younes Mourri, could you give a little intro to yourself?
Thanks, Ryan. I'm Younes, and I teach here at Stanford and also at deeplearning.ai. So you've probably already seen me at deeplearning.ai with Lucas in the specialization. And I'm also very interested in accessible education, specifically for AI, and hope to see you all soon.
Yeah, and I just say, really grateful to Ken, Marty, and Younes, in addition to Lucas, being with us. I just want to give a shout out to Ken, who was a huge help to the whole team in creating the NLP specialization, in addition to being an insightful, leading figure of NLP. So thank you, Ken. And Marty.
Younes, I'd like to ask you a question. You're the sort of earliest career panelist here, and I think it must be an interesting perspective to have been studying all this stuff or sort of developing your own mastery while the field was advancing so fast, or while it was sort of making such a big public splash. So maybe you could give some perspective on what your journey's been like, and also any recommendations you'd have for people who are wanting to potentially start on that journey themselves.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So my journey has been a little bit different. So for me, education means a lot to me. And especially I grew up in Morocco, so we do not have access to the latest, technologies and states of the art and as many resources as we have here at Stanford. So for me, I really wanted to be part of the mission that will help, take the latest technologies and states of the art and make it accessible to everyone around the world. So that's how I started, and I came here around in 2014, where I started with the machine learning course on Coursera. And I started by writing lecture notes and trying to make it as accessible as possible to everyone. And eventually I started building up and studied math, computer science, statistics, and just started slowly, mastering, building assignments and quizzes and so forth. So that was pretty much the journey. Then we built the deep learning specialization, and we started teaching on Stanford campus. So it's been interesting because every time you finish building an assignment, then there's a new technology that goes out. And then you have to read another paper and then try to transform it into another assignment, and it just keeps going on and on. So it's been definitely exciting to be as soon as you're done with a new assignment, you go ahead and try to bring in new states of the arts. So yeah.
I can definitely say from my own perspective that working on these courses with you and Lucas has been really interesting in the fact that the field has developed significantly while building the courses. So that feels like it's been an exciting path. Andrew, I'd like to. Cool. Well, I feel like we could keep the conversation going for a long time here, but we need to save some time at the end here for the course demo with Younes. So at this point, I want to thank all of the panelists very much for all the insights. I want to just mention as well that for people looking to stay up to date, we do publish a weekly newsletter called The Batch, and that we spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's relevant to think about this week, and sort of bring it down to a consumable size so that you can try to stay up to date. Of course, we can only do so much in there, but it's a great place to catch up on some things. So thank you very much to all of the panelists. And at this point, Younes, I'd like to turn it over to you to give us a little demo, a little sneak peek into the course that's coming out today.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. Let me just... Okay, perfect. I hope everyone can see my screen now. Okay, so what I'm about to do right now, I'm gonna give you a course demo of course 3. And so why take this specialization? The specialization teaches NLP, which is one of the most sought after skills in AI. And you use NLP every day. So text is everywhere, basically. Right now, you're reading text. When you are looking at your phone, you're using text. When you're sending a message to someone, you're using autocorrect. When you're inputting a search query, it's Google search, you're using autocomplete. You're basically using Google machine translation every time. You're basically using NLP tools and applications all the time. So why take specifically the specialization? Well, the specialization was designed specifically to build up to the latest state-of-the-art models. So you start with course 1 and 2, where we lay the foundations. And then in courses 3 and 4, you start reaching state-of-the-art. And hopefully by the end, you'll not only know how these APIs work, but also you'll be able to use them. So you'll know how they're built from scratch and how to use them. So who is this specialization for? First of all, the prereqs for the specialization are just basic machine learning and basic coding. So as long as you know basic machine learning and some basic coding, you'll be able to do the specialization. Software engineers, developers, and students of all backgrounds can easily take the specialization. And if you're a product manager, entrepreneurs, and digital businesses who want to transform their businesses into AI-powered businesses, then this specialization will also help you with that. And also people who just want to know the latest AI trends. Currently in the specialization, we do cover the latest state-of-the-art models. So it will also be a very good thing if you just wanted to know what the latest industry is using. So let's take a look at what you learn. This is just a recap of course 1, where you learn to do sentiment analysis with logistic regression and naive Bayes. And then you also learn about vector space models, PCA, and locality sensitive hashing. So you learn how to translate like one word from English to French, or you learn how to complete analogies. So this is course 1, and it does lay the foundations. Then in course 2, you learn about dynamic programming and hidden Markov models. So this is where you learn to build these applications like autocorrect, autocomplete, and then part of speech tagging. For example, if someone told you book of flies, then book is a verb. And if someone told you I want to read a book, then book is a noun. So this is also useful and has a lot of consumer enterprise use cases. Course 3 is where we start getting into more deep learning, and where you cover like dense and recurrent neural networks, LSTMs, GRUs, and Siamese networks. For example, we always answer, like sometimes questions gets answered, students ask us questions, and the same question gets asked again and again. So with a system like with Siamese networks, you can identify whether a user asked the question that has already been answered, and you can just recommend that answer to the user. You also learn about text generation, named entity recognition, and how to identify these question duplicates. And this is course 3, which is currently state-of-the-art, where you cover encoder, decoder, causal, and self-attention, where you perform the latest state-of-the-art machine translation. You learn how to take an article and summarize it. You do question answering, and you do chatbots. So you're not only like using an API. What's really special about this course 4 is that you do get to see how these products are being built from scratch, so you can use them in your own application and projects. And some of the models covered are T5, BERT, Transformer, Reformer. Reformer is the efficient transformer. So that's what Lucas was talking about. And this allows you to save a lot of memory, and it just makes it much, much faster and allows you to capture long sequences. And then we also, by taking course 4 later, you'll also learn how GPT-2 and GPT-3, like they're just bigger models and bigger versions of themselves. So this is coming soon, coming in September. So stay tuned for that. But now let's focus on course 3, which is sequence models. So remember, course 1 was classification vector spaces, probabilistic models. Course 3 is sequence, and course 4 is the attention models. So in week 1 of course 3, you're going to do sentiment analysis. And I know you're like, oh, we've already seen sentiment analysis in course 1. But in course 1, if you had 2 inputs, like I'm happy and I'm sad, this is easy to classify. You can do a logistic regression, a naive Bayes, as you will see, or you've already seen in course 1, and you can get it to work. But what if I asked you a question, like an input, like with the grade setting, I almost like the movie, but things changed when I saw the end. So over here you have great, you have like, and then with a naive model, you might easily classify, oh, it's a happy sentence, but it turns out that it might be a sad sentence. So this is much harder. And this is what you do in the first programming assignment. So over here you have, it's such a nice day, think I'll be taking Sid and Ramsgate fish and chips. Anyways, it's like a positive sentence, and you can see that the model says that it's positive, but it's naive, it's simple. Over here you have, I hated my day, it was the worst, I'm so sad. This is obviously a negative sentence. But over here, with the grade setting, I almost liked the movie, but things changed when I saw the end. So you can see over here you have the word like great, and then you have the word liked. So, but the neural network was capable of capturing this dependency, and it turns out that it is truly a negative sentence. So you'll basically be able to build things that will be able to capture these dependencies. Week 2 is text generation. And what you'll do is you'll use character level generation, and you use a similar concepts in other text generation applications. So like poems, question answering, and chatbots all make use of text generation. And this is an example of character generation. So you can see here, and which thou hearest and bang. So it was generated one character at a time. And then over here, some more character generation examples. And all of these are examples that you will be building in your programming assignments of week 2 of course 3. Week 3 is named entity recognition. And this is an example, like many French citizens are going to Morocco for Christmas. And you can see I put Morocco and French, when French is geopolitical entity, Morocco is a geographic entity, and Christmas is a time indicator. So you'll be doing exactly this in week 3. And here's a concrete use case. So let's say that you want to help businesses with customer support tickets by getting structured data from unstructured data. So you can use named entity recognition to help identify people, places, brands, monetary values, and more. This is an example of a sentence. So Peter Navarro, the White House Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy of US, said in an interview on Sunday morning that the White House was working to prepare for the possibility of a second wave of the coronavirus in the fall, though he said it wouldn't necessarily come. So you can see Peter Navarro is a person, White House is an organization, Sunday morning is a time indicator, White House is an organization, and coronavirus fall is a time indicator. So you'll also be building this. Week 4 is question duplicates. So I'm once again asking the same question, and you'll be using Siamese networks applied to a specific use case with the Cora dataset, and you'll use it to find similar search queries or similar sentences. And this is a very important application because you do not want to be answering the same question again and again. So this is an example of the programming assignment towards the end. And of course, over here, we're giving you like the built version, but you're going to build it from, you're going to have to code it. So the question 1 says, do they enjoy eating the dessert? And question 2, do they like hiking in the desert? So you can see that these are not the same, right? So it's false. Next, if you were to change hiking in with do they like the desert, and do they enjoy eating the dessert, then this will also be false. Now I'm going to add an S here, and you're going to see that these are still not the same, because I can enjoy, for example, eating something, I can like something like kale because it's healthy, but I might not enjoy eating kale. So it's also false. But if you were to change it like this, then you get it's true. Do they enjoy eating the dessert, and do they like eating the dessert? Then it gives you true. So this is just an example of week 4 and the programming assignments that you will be building. And in conclusion, So we designed the specialization to not only show you how to use APIs, but also how to build them from scratch. And most assignments could be turned into products for consumer enterprise. And assignments are strategically designed to build up to the state of the art, like GPT-3, which is currently state of the art. And you just now have the tools and all the necessary equipment to start building any products that you want. Hopefully turn your ideas into a fully fleshed out product.